A lot of people wonder, where are the Muslims? There are about 2 billion Muslims in the world, and that is about a quarter of the world population. So a quarter of the world population are Muslims. And a lot of people think that most of those Muslims are Arab speaking, so they are in the Middle East. The reality though is that if you look at the population of the whole Middle East, it can add up to about 400 million people. 400 million people is, less than a quarter of the number of the Muslims in the world. So where are those Muslims hiding? A lot of the Muslims are non-Arab speaking. Actually, majority of them are non-Arab speaking. You have a very big population in South Asia, and then the rest are distributed across the world. So if you look at Indonesia, for example, there's about 220 million Muslims in Indonesia alone, which is pretty large number. And then if you look at India, for example, there are about 200 million Muslims there as well. So there are a lot of Muslims in those South Asian countries. But also in Europe, Europe has a lot of Muslims. For example, if you look at a country like France, 9% of its population are Muslims. So you have about 5.7 million Muslims in France alone. Germany has 6% of its population are Muslims, and that adds up to about 5 million Muslims. You have another country like the UK. About 6.5% of the population are Muslims, and that adds up to about 4 million people. Canada has 7% of its population, about 7% are Muslims, and there are about 2.4 million people, or 2.4 million Muslims in Canada. The US has a Muslim population of about 4 point something million. And it's because the US has a very large population that makes up, just above 1% of the population of the United States. Australia has a pretty big population of Muslims relatively. It's 2.5%. So Muslims are everywhere, and the reality is that Muslims are contributing in different ways to the world, and with time that contribution is going to increase. So it is statistically known that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and that means that whether it is through population or through other sorts of contribution, the presence of Muslims in the world is going to increase. And hence, it becomes very important to not play the game of fear that some people attempt to play and some politicians attempt to play. And it also makes sense for people to start learning about, what does Islam teaches? You have right now in the United States, I think about 9 Muslims that have taken significant political positions. So that's also very interesting. You have in Canada the immigration minister, he's a Muslim. You have in Europe, a whole bunch of politicians are Muslims. So to play this game of fear and this game of scaring people of the Muslims and Islam, it is not to the benefit of anybody. And it is also important for people who don't know much about Islam to start learning about it. So that was my comments for today. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next episode.